Hello and welcome to the Heresy Lodge. I'm your host, Dylan Cooper, the constant co-host over here.
Gavin Franklin.
And don't mind my stupid ass dog in the background playing with every single loud thing he can find. It's going to be one of those episodes where he's an asshole.
I can't hear it. I can't hear it
Well,
whatsoever.
that's good. All I hear is as he grabs the cat's it's like a scrunchy ball type of deal. Oh my God, it's a lot of shit.
Well, it's only annoying you.
God bless, I guess. All right, Gavin. We're here to review Fury of Magnus this week. Initial impressions.
The ending was a lot cooler than the beginning.
Yeah, but when we get to a certain character's arc, it's not even say when we get to the end of Malcador's arc,
Very
I have
confusing.
so many words I want to talk about because what the fuck?
Yes. Yep.
I'm just confused.
100%. But I think right off the bat, one thing that is killing me is like it's a really good story, but I'm in anguish that I open up Mortis's character page and Vulcan's not there still.
Who?
Oh,
Never heard of this guy.
Vulcan. And we'll get to it when we get there. But
turns
yes.
out Vulcan is actually either the second or 11th Primarch, and they just keep fucking forgetting about it. Like, oh yeah, no, we found a new guy.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Vulcan's like, I've been here the whole time, actually.
So what are we doing drinks? What are you drinking today?
So I got two things. One, because I only have one can of one. So I was like, well, I can't only have one beer on the episode. That's fucking blasphemous.
Sure.
So the first beer I'm drinking, I said it last week. It's the season. So we are sticking with my pumpkin beers. This week I am drinking the Atomic Pumpkin from Voodoo Ranger. I should have read this can. It says spicy release. I was like, yeah, whatever. As I'm drinking it, I'm like, yeah, pumpkin. Cool. And you wait like 10 seconds, you're like, that's a little warm.
It's a little warm.
I look at the can and it says ale brewed with pumpkin, cinnamon, and chilies.
Oh.
And I ask myself, in all of Voodoo Ranger, why the fuck you putting chilies with my pumpkin? Cinnamon makes sense. Like, cinnamon heat with pumpkin, that's like a thing that goes together. I have never gotten anything made of pumpkin with the side of with chilies. I don't get chilies in my pumpkin bread. What about my pumpkin roll? Never had a fucking chili in that. Have you ever had a chili in it? No. It's not a goddamn thing.
I appreciate the rant. I thought that was going to go in a different direction. I thought you were going to be like, this pumpkin is really spicy.
I mean, my mouth is warm, and it's weird. Honestly, I thought it was ginger at first, but no, ginger probably would have been better here.
That's strange because you like spicy things.
I don't like spicy drinks though.
Yeah, it's weird.
There's only been like one spicy drink I liked, and it was like a jalapeno margarita that I had at some random barcade in Dallas.
That's rough.
I thought I was gonna hate it, but the tequila they used was actually pretty good. I was like, all right, I'll probably never order this again, but I appreciate it.
I'm gonna skip a couple seasons on you.
Oh no,
I'm
a stout?
A chocolate stout.
Oh God, that must have just been in your packet of random things your father-in-law got.
Yep.
There's no way you picked it up.
This is from Minhas Craft Brewery in Monroe, Wisconsin. It is a chocolate stout.
Delicious.
It's honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's been sitting in there for 8 months. But I don't think that's bad. Beer normally lasts a while. But it tastes a little flat. So like you only get a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of stout. It tastes like brown water.
Oh. Yeah. So you just feel like you're in like, I was gonna say Flint, Michigan, but I don't. Maybe that's bad to say. I don't know.
Are they drinking chocolate stout?
I mean, their water's supposed to be really bad, so that's kind
Mhm.
of how I imagine it tastes like.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly maybe Mid-Haas Brewery is Minhas is canning there. Let's see.
It makes sense. They're probably saving money. Oh, I have another beer for whenever this one runs
Oh,
out. I've had it on the
second beer.
podcast before. It is the Muse Belgian style golden ale from Daredevil Brewing.
Ooh, you've been on a big Daredevil kick, I feel like.
No, I've had this one from when I got that 4-pack from when I got dinner with you guys and walked over to Daredevil afterwards.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
We have our stuff, our housekeeping.
Yes. So hit us up on Discord. You can hang out with us. They do movie nights and some hobby meetup every weekend. Check it out. Find that pin to our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Emails at theheresylodge@gmail.com. Check out our merch. That'll be in the show notes. We're on YouTube at the Heresy Lodge. Play Tacticus. Check out Pantsophorus. Discord at GG/Pantsophorus. Also, yeah, check this bad boy out.
Oh, is
It's
that a
our
launch token?
it's a Lodge token. It's not focusing. Focus. There we
Kind
go.
of had it there for a second.
Yeah, it's cool.
We'll
It's really
post some
fun to
pictures
play.
on Discord.
Yeah, it's really cool. TBD on more information about those.
Cool.
Gavin.
Fury of
Oh,
Magnus.
also, we will have another giveaway coming up soon-ish. We will be getting a couple more models from the guy that painted them last time. He decided to paint more for us. I said, sure, we'll take him. So we will be seeing an Armin, and we will be seeing it's a Tyranid. Hold on.
Ooh, a Tyranid.
A Tyranid. It looks really cool. I saw it.
I'm feeling the itch to start painting
A
again.
Neurotyrant.
Oh, a Neurotime, the new one,
Yeah, so it should be cool. Hey man, I got a bunch of World Eaters.
I've got a bunch of death. I have no Tau, no Thousand Suns, just a bunch of Death Guard I gotta paint. I'll get to it eventually. I
That's
just
what I
don't,
keep saying.
I don't enjoy the Death Guard.
Yeah, and there's kind of no point of playing them.
Exactly. Not exactly fun to play either. So,
Yeah. You
all
ready
right.
for this?
So
Are you ready for some Fury of Magnus by Sir Graham McNeil?
the legendary Graham. So we talked about last time all the characters that we have involved. We had, Abidemi and the Space Wolf group. We have Ariman and Magnus and all of his sons. And then we have Vulcan and Malcador and the Perpetual. What was her name?
Olivier.
Olivia, who was from Vengeful Spirit. So big cast. We love that Graham does this. We love that he goes back and says, I'm not going to make a new Perpetual. I'm going to use a Perpetual
But
that
he
we
does mention the new Perpetual.
He does. He wants, you can tell that Graham McNeil,
As the
it's,
only author that reads the other books.
yeah, that might be the case. He clearly wants to tie things together that have already been created. He wants to talk about other authors' deals. I mean, this whole book is solely loosely based off of Old Earth, which apparently no other author read but Graham McNeil.
Yep, 100%.
Mhm.
And it kind of sucks that it kind of ends up always falling on his shoulders to like do that. I mean, I think Guy Haley kind of does like similar stuff with like Pharaohs and books like that, but
Sure.
it's cool to see the characters and like an author that obviously gives a shit about the other books.
Yeah.
Now, does he do the best job every time? No, but he at least gives a shit, and I respect that.
And there are some things in this book that he took from other books, but there are things from those exact same books that he also messed up. It's a complicated thing writing books as multiple authors, but there's a few points that even we picked up on pretty easily from previous books that we made comments about We were like, whoa, that was completely missed. So we'll get to that. The first half of the book is all about Magnus trying to get into the palace. And we get some very interesting interactions. We have the Magnus hurls, what does he throw at the wall?
A fucking robot of some sort that's huge.
It's a big robot. It's not a Titan. It's something. It's got some sort of nuclear power plant. And this is where, like, I love Graham. He writes really intriguing stories. His battle sequence writing is very confusing sometimes.
Yeah, great with dialogue.
Yes.
Combat, pretty hit or miss.
I mean, this is the guy that wrote about Horus absorbing the blow, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and it's also the guy that wrote the fucking church, or not church scene, but the music scene in Vulgar, where it's all just like descriptions of words of like crazy shit happening that's not a battle. Wonderful.
fantastic. Yeah. The more abstract he gets in his battle writing, the better it tends to be. But when he's like, Magnus comes down, does a Willy Wonka thing, picks the giant thing up, and then throws it at the other thing, and then a bunch of things die. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, it was like taking down a wall or something.
Yeah.
It was very like anime-esque.
He makes a statement that he has 10,000 sons left. And I think most of them died when he threw that thing at the wall. That's my understanding.
Which makes the ending of his story arc even fucking funnier.
Yeah, even funnier. We get the revelation that Magnus's plan is actually to kill the emperor to become emperor. Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, Armin's like, yeah, bro, that's like a great idea. Like, you'd be a super cool emperor. And then I'm sitting there thinking, I was like, what do you mean you not that great? Remember when he wanted you to let everyone go through the flesh change? Like, that's weird, right?
Or he didn't tell you that the Space Wolves were attacking or try to help you defend your planet.
Yeah, weird.
I also feel like Ariman's the type of person that's like, yeah, you would be great. Somebody fuck that up as quickly as possible.
Get the bullet.
I can only imagine Ariman in this situation is like, wow, everyone sucks. There is no good scenario.
Can we just make Karn the emperor already? Jesus Christ.
That's where we really do get a lot of like the first captains or equerries like realizing like, oh, this shit's fucked up. Like, this is not good at all. Like, we had the whole thing about Forks. He was like, yeah, poor Robbo's fucking crazy now. And Horus is weird. There is no solution to this, but I love killing space marines. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. You have Abaddon, who's like, man, everybody here is fucking stupid except for me. Horus sucks. All he does is sit in a chair now. Don't respect him. Porterabo, I actually kind of respect you because you're doing stuff. That's it.
Yeah. Ariman hasn't been vocal about this yet, but just kind of knowing Ariman's character, I just feel like that's how he thinks. Another character we get revealed to us is Lemuel. Strange ending. Well, not really ending, but strange story for Lemuel. You know, he is possessed by Magnus's
soul.
Soul? Is that what it was? His soul?
Part of his soul. It was a shard of his soul. You know how like the Eldar have their soul shards, so this is like 100th of one of those.
And this is like the thing that Fulgrim shoved up his ass.
I think so. That's how I imagine.
Very similar in concept.
A lot smaller, but yeah.
Okay. So Lemuel then makes his way back to Terra. We get this conversation with Ariman, and he's like, yeah, that guy's probably dead. Turns out he's not dead. He's with the Space Wolves. He's with Malcador. They bring in, what's her name? Olivia. I keep forgetting it. Olivia hates Malcador very blatantly throughout this entire book.
Yeah.
And that's the team. That's the anti-team against Magnus here.
Yeah, what really confuses me about perpetuals is why is Malcador so fucking old looking, and like all the other perpetuals are like, I imagine like mid-30s looking.
Well, is Malcador perpetual?
We were told he was, and he fucking knows all the other perpetuals apparently. So I think, but maybe not. But maybe like Magnus is like super OP. I don't know.
I don't know. So anyway, they try to break through this wall. Avidemi and the Space Wolf guy are the first ones to arrive at the break. And the Space Wolf guy is like, here, let's shake hands. And then they summon animal spirits.
It's a
They
giant fucking wolf.
they basically release the furry convention upon the Thousand Suns, and it's devastating. Magnus has no idea what to do with these furries. They're everywhere. Some of them are dressed as dragons, some of them are dressed as wolves. I think they're called scalies when they're dragons.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that even means.
Anyway, Abademi has to chop this guy's arm off in order to stop the furry magic because this guy's getting way too into the furry shit. Very similar to almost every other space wolf that we've seen in the lore.
Actually, yeah.
Now it's all coming together. What if we touched each other and summoned animal spirits?
It's totally cool because they're spirits, like not like actual like wolves, guys.
Yes, but it'd be a lot cooler if I howled and you growled.
don't forget the leather choker.
This is more of a it's a cultural thing. Don't worry.
It's symbolic.
Yeah, that's what's going on here. We're having a ritual, or not a ritual, that would be wrong. We're having a gathering. I know that sounds like a furry gathering. There's no good thing here. Just put the collar on.
It's a con. It's just a con.
So Habadimi chops his arm off. That was kind of funny. And then they get into this like vehicle and they're like, we got to go track down Magnus because we're pretty sure he's in the inner palace. We get this really cool scene. One of my favorite scenes of the book is when Magnus is in the observatory and a bomb gets dropped on the observatory and he saves everyone's life. He's like disguising himself as an Imperial Fist, but as
Can we talk about how he got in to the Imperial Palace for a second? Because that made no fucking sense to me.
He walked.
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense to me.
He was disguised as an Imperial Fist.
It's fucking stupid.
He manipulated the minds of everybody to make him think that he was an Imperial Fist.
That makes me like, how many people can he do that to? Like, can he like camouflage?
I mean, according to this, like hundreds.
I feel like this is like a really missed tactical
power. Yeah. No, there's a bunch of blood coming in to get supported from our lines.
Yeah, like, oh, look at that. These guys are actually the Sons of Horus. Oh shit. I don't
know. Yeah, a little missed, but he reveals himself. He saves the lives of these individuals, which is really important because, like, one of the themes of this book is the fact that Magnus is looking. The reason he's going into the palace, he has two reasons, right? He's going to try and kill the emperor, but he's also looking for the soul shard that we know that is in Arvida, that may be in the warp, maybe on Titan, maybe on Titan in the warp. I don't know.
Or maybe he's just sitting fucking like the Imperial pool. I don't fucking know right now.
Chilling at the Imperial pool.
They were fucking playing Regicide at like a lake house, so he might just be in a pool somewhere.
It's wild out there.
Damn, I need another Mai Tai for this.
Give me one of them spicy margs. But not him. He's got the stomach acid. He's got
this weird thing about chiles.
Yeah, don't give it to him. So the interesting part about this, the theme though, is Magnus believes that Arvida is the best part of himself. He believes that Arvida is like the good part of Magnus, and the reason Magnus is so mean is because he doesn't have the good part of himself.
Imagine if they just skipped going to that one planet for, again from like Thousand Suns, that very first planet where his Fury shard was.
Yeah.
If they just skipped that, like you wouldn't even be so mad.
We get revealed by Malcador that that's not true.
Yeah.
That every shard is simply a portion of him, which historically has seemed to be inaccurate.
Yeah.
But today, it does seem accurate that this one shard is just a random portion of him and not like a specific trait, because the whole point of the observatory scene was that like Magnus saved people's lives when he didn't have to. I don't know. I mean, it's a cool theme. I get what they're trying to do. Like Magnus is on this mission to like make himself whole and better again, but he's been better and whole this whole time. It's kind of like continuing on the tragic path of Magnus as he make up excuses and makes up ideas as to why he's so shitty. It's someone else's fault is the concept.
Yeah, it's weird how everything always ends up being everyone else's fault when it comes to Magnus.
Yeah, and that is like the continued theme. I think Graham does a really good job of writing like this like desperate character looking for a solution to a problem he created but won't admit to.
And somehow people are convinced that he's great, never done anything wrong.
Yeah.
Literally read any of the books with him in it. Any of them. There's never been a moment where I was like, wow, he just got fucked. No, he fucked himself.
I actually think Magnus as a character got redemption at the end of this book, which is interesting, and the way that it came about. But yeah, we'll get into it.
Oh my god! Imagine if the only two fucking surviving Primarchs were the Lion and Magnus. They were the only two loyalists left, and that was it. Think about how shitty everything would be.
It would be pretty rough. The Lion would be always trying to kill Magnus for some problem that Magnus created. And then the Lion would end up causing the problem to be like 20 times worse. And then Magnus would create another problem to try and
it's two big victim complexes coming at each other.
It would be absolutely miserable. So they're making their way down into the depths of the palace. And they run into Malcador. And this scene was nuts.
This was really cool. I really enjoyed this scene. And you know why? Yeah. There was no fucking action. It was dialogue.
All conversation between Magnus and Malcador. It's when Malcador reveals, like, this is not the shard. I put it somewhere. Even I don't know where. And it's not like the best part of you, but let's play regicide as Malcador does, because regicide is always like what they use to describe a situation.
Yep.
And Olivia is the one playing against Magnus, which is really cool.
Yep.
Lots of really good conversation. And Magnus kills Malcador.
Yeah, which confuses the absolute fuck out of me. But before we get that, I want to talk about a couple things we talked about. One thing, Malcador actually apologizing to Magnus about sitting the wolves. He's like, I wouldn't like not do it again because it was like you kind of had to do it, but you should probably blame it a little bit of Horus. All right, I don't know why you're blaming the Emperor and me. Horus is the one that kind of told him to fuck you up. All right.
Malcador definitely apologized for not telling Magnus enough.
Yeah.
Which I think makes a lot of sense. We literally have talked about this so many times, all the way back to when we first read Thousand Suns, was why didn't the Emperor just tell Magnus about the webway?
Yeah.
It's literally just that simple. Because then Magnus would not have done the shit that he did, and he could be redeemable at that point. And there's this whole argument that, like, oh, Magnus just should have known. I'm like, okay, yeah, but you don't have to be that way about it. You can just tell him. You know what I mean? That is what I feel like Malcador is apologizing for. And then Magnus, made this really big thing where he was like, oh, just because you didn't have the foresight to see it doesn't mean you're not at fault.
Yeah.
And then when Malcador reveals that Arvida's hiding at the pool.
And drinking his Mai Tais.
Yeah.
Fucking all the bitches.
Kills Malcador. Now, the setting here is really interesting too, because they're basically in the villas. Now, we've seen these villas before, but I don't think they've ever been like just right up front. This is what the villas were made for. Have we?
I think maybe in a short story.
Mm-hmm.
Because it talked about like the 20 of them, and I think the only person that's ever actually been down there other than Magnus was Dorn.
No, I mean that's where Loken showed up when
Well, Primarch wise.
well, it would have been Lehman Russ was playing Regicide with
Was that
Malcador.
there? I thought that
Yeah.
was just like they were just chilling on like the fucking like they Logan landed on his port, he walked out, throwing off his chest, and they're like, oh, it's Gabriel Loken. And if
I
you didn't
think that
read
was in
Gara, you're like, what the fuck?
what's going on? I'm pretty sure that was in that room. Both stories written by Graham. I think Graham was the inventor of the Primarch room.
Sure.
He was also told, I mean, Magnus was also told that like other brothers had been there previously and spent time there.
It's been a while.
But we don't know who that was. I think
Yeah.
maybe we were told Sanguinius at one point. I'm not sure. But this whole area was put aside for the Primarchs to grow up on Terra. And again, we get this statement that, oh, it was what was the other visual's name?
Ezra or whatever.
Yeah.
Escha, Ezra.
That she was the one responsible for sending the Primarchs into the warp, which is like, we understand that could happen, but it's very weird.
It came out of nowhere because like they had been hyping up that it was the Chaos Gods that did it. Maybe Argal Tall.
Yeah. I mean, the previous story we were told was that these like gestation pods that all the baby Primarchs were in had Geller fields around them.
Yeah.
And that Argal Tall, through a vision in the past, deactivated the Geller fields. And then the Chaos Gods arrived to pull the Primarchs into the warp. That we later then learned was a result of the Emperor making a deal with the Chaos Gods to put power into the Primarchs. Now we have this whole alternate-ish story that Ursha or Esha, she is actually the Primarch's mother because the Emperor needed part of another perpetual to make them, which seems to be like weirdly at odds with the Chaos God story.
Yeah, like what was the point of that was the point of whatchamacallit, right? Oh goddamn, what's that planet that Olivia
Moloch.
was at? Yeah, Moloch. Like he go into there just to get shit for the Primarchs.
Yeah, that's what we were told. And then so we get told that Esha's the one responsible for sending them into the warp. So what does that mean though? Like, did she pull the lever to deactivate the Geller fields? Did she open up a warp rift and Argal Tall pulled the lever? Like, was the Argal Tall thing just a vision that was shown and trying to like convince Argal Tall that he was the reason that all this happened? I could see that, but like clearly the Chaos Gods were working with Esha in some way.
Especially because like after it happens, like certain Primarchs went to certain places because the Chaos Gods wanted them to go there.
Yeah.
Like Lorgar going to the fucking warshipping planet.
Mm-hmm. It's very obvious that there's no way that Esha like picked up all of the Primarchs in like a ship and then flew them out to different planets. There was definitely
kick them out.
Yeah. There was definitely a warp storm. And like this obviously contradicts like even all the way back in the beginning where the Chaos Gods told Horus that
the Emperor did it on purpose.
The Emperor did it on purpose. Yeah, exactly.
I forgot about that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so there's like multi-conflicting stories, and I think we can kind of all it, it's really hard to say. Like it seems
That
to me
wasn't
like
False Gods.
yeah, that was also Graham McNeil.
Oh my gosh, Graham, what happened?
Graham has written three different versions. ADB wrote a version of what happened to the Primarchs. um, if you had, my opinion is the Emperor did plan for them to stay there. He made a deal with the Chaos Gods. He thought he could beat them, and then Esha deactivated the Galar Fields and a warp ripped open. Now that's weird because I don't know why Esha would be working with the Chaos Gods. Because if you're going to deactivate Geller Field, you clearly have an intention. Like you clearly know about the warp, right? So if you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to destroy the Primarch project. Oh, how are you going to do it? You're going to flood the room? You're going to blow them up? Oh no, I'm going to deactivate their Geller Fields. A little warpy, a little demony. I don't know why she did that. But that's the best guess I have. We don't know why. Obviously, she didn't want the Emperor to succeed in his plan, but it seems strange that she would then awkwardly align herself with the Chaos Gods. Because there's no way you can argue that she didn't know that a warp
Yeah.
rift would open because she deactivated the Geller fields.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're preparing for when you deactivate the Geller fields. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't make any. Well, whatever.
Yeah, that's where I'm at there. But anyway, they were supposed to grow up in this like giant room in all of these villas. Um, and Magnus kind of wonders if they would squabble or if all of these things would happen. And I'm of the impression that they would not. I think the reason that they have all these problems is because of the warp taint in the beginning.
Warp
Um,
tank, and I mean, you're a product of your environment, right? I mean, there's that always, I mean, that nature versus nurture battle, but all these guys, all the planets they were on is what shaped them. The
yeah,
lion being an idiot is because he was in the fucking forest by himself, being an idiot. So
yeah,
you have Lorgar and his worshipping planet. So of course he has to find something to worship because that's what he was raised to do.
right. I mean, that's a big thing throughout the Horus Heresy and Warhammer in general is like nature versus nurture, the concept of the emperor versus the environment they grew up in. If we look back at the book that Dan Abnett wrote, I mean, Saturnine right before this, it's almost implied that the Emperor didn't actually make them as warlords or intend for them to even be warlords. The whole concept behind the Primarchs is like, oh, they were generals that led the Emperor's armies, but in Saturnine, we get revealed that he just needed like pals almost. He needed like perpetuals to help fulfill his plan. Now, maybe that meant them being warlords, but it's pretty obvious from the text that the Emperor did not need the Primarchs to conquer all those planets. He literally discovered them all almost without their help.
Yeah.
He had Mars, he had all of these various different things. So I don't know. I feel like it's interesting to see maybe the warp, maybe their environment, maybe all these things turned them into warlords, and then the Emperor just used them to accelerate his plan at his detriment. I don't know. There's all kinds of things we think about there.
Yeah. And it's all bullshit, I think, at this point.
A little wibbly wash. I don't
Yeah.
know. But Malcador dies.
Which I really hate this scene because, like, so Magnus gets all pissed off because the shard isn't there. And he grabs Malcador by the throat, and just like melts him alive. And like Malcador doesn't put up a fight. Like he's the second strongest psyker on Terra that we know of. And he just kills over and dies to Magnus. I don't like that.
I feel like he could have killed at least Ariman or Aemon.
Yeah, like he could have done literally anything. Like he didn't even do anything. He just they really
That's a
should add
great,
sound effects to the audiobooks, by the
great.
way.
Olivia gets her black back blown out.
Yeah, by fucking bolt or shell.
Magnus is depressed that he did this. he gets his words kind of reverberated back at him, right? He's like, "Oh, I didn't know the intention," and he like hears him saying, "Oh, if you didn't know the intention, it doesn't mean that you're not at fault." Yada yada yada. He has this like small moment where he's like, "Maybe I am the asshole." And he keeps, and then he heads down the tunnel. Now that's a whole story, but we can come back to what happens to Olivia and Malcador because
Yeah,
this is mind blowing.
I agree. So continue on that story with Magnus. He runs they go through your favorite area. They get to see the Rosetta Stone.
Wait a minute, time out. First off, let's talk about what happened with Olivia and Malcador first, because it doesn't like relay back.
Sure. Olivia apparently like when perpetuals die, they just have like a dream state and they wake up and they're like, whoa, that was a rough night.
Yeah.
And then she finds Malcador, who's just fucking bones.
Well, her dream state, she sees the Emperor, who gives her a vision of what it would be like to lose the war and what it would be like to win the war.
Yeah.
And apparently both of them suck, but one sucks a little bit less.
Yeah.
Turns out Alfarius wasn't correct, but who knows? This might be the Emperor lying about it as well.
Sure. Also, it's interesting that she mentions that John, like that the Emperor let John talk her into like doing this.
Yeah, because she had like a dream at one point that John was there and manipulated
Yeah.
her into doing a bunch of stuff. I don't remember that in Vengeful Spirit. I don't think that was a thing that happened.
I think he might have shown up maybe on the ship at the end.
Maybe. I'm not sure. But I do
Or it
know
might have been a short story where they talked.
possibly. So she wakes up, she finds Malcador's burnt body. Problem number one. Problem number one of this whole thing. Why is Malcador dead?
Yeah. He's a perpetual, right?
Yeah,
Is Magnus just so powerful he can kill perpetuals?
that's what we're gonna try to get sold on, is this idea that like psychic power kills perpetuals.
It kills their soul? Question mark.
That seems so ridiculous
Well, what's
because,
more ridiculous is what happens.
well, let me talk about this real quick. If psychic powers kill perpetuals, why did we have the book Vulcan Lives, where
Yeah,
they
that's fair.
chase after like an entire artifact that can be used to kill a perpetual, and instead of just like using a fucking psychic ritual, they were the word bearers. Like most of them are psychic to a degree and use the warp to a degree. If that can kill a perpetual, why not just do that?
Yeah. Although the thing that can kill perpetuals is a piece of glass that was sand that lightning that the Emperor made hit. So maybe only the power of the Emperor can kill perpetuals? Question
Oh, are we gonna do like a weird thing where it's like, well, technically, so it's Magnus is the son of the Emperor,
Yeah, he has like his
and then,
DNA, so he can
and
kill
he,
things.
and he can kill things with psychic powers. We're like, Conrad Curse is the son of the Emperor, but he doesn't have psychic powers, and therefore he can't kill perpetuals like he did with Vulcan.
But he does have psychic powers because he can see the future.
It's true, but he didn't kill him with the psychic. See, we're getting into a level of storytelling that I compare a lot to the Vampire Diaries.
Please explain more as someone who's never seen the Vampire Diaries, because well,
I'll do it
I don't
really
want to. I don't
easily.
want to. I don't want to go into it.
I've watched all the Vampire Diaries. I don't want to go into
By
it
himself, definitely.
exclusively by myself 3 times. There's this character in the Vampire Diaries, okay, and her name is Bonnie. All right, and
That's a
Bonnie
terrible name.
Bonnie is a witch. All right, now anytime you're a story writer, right, and you introduce the concept of like a witch or any sort of magical creature, You have to be able to define rules in your universe. What do witches do? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's fair.
where does the magic come from? What are the limitations? You know, like what can they do? Well, Vampire Diaries doesn't give a fuck about any of that because it's a TV show geared towards teenage girls and it's like very focused on love stories, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So the answer to what Bonnie can do as a witch is whatever the fuck the story needs her to be able to do at that moment. And that's how I feel like we're getting to at this point, where it's like, okay, so we've established that this specific artifact created by the Emperor's power is what's used to kill perpetuals. And we've established that Malcador is perpetual. And now it's up to like the reader to come up with like these rules for magic of like, well, technically Magnus is the Emperor's son, so maybe when he uses psychic powers on something, it's the same thing as this specific artifact. Like none of it's defined. It's all like loose, like you have to make jumps as a reader or a viewer or whatever it is to try and justify how this magic or these rules work.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's very vampire diary-esque writing.
It's rough though. It just doesn't make any goddamn sense.
So the next thing that happens is Olivia does what?
Apparently, she can give away her life to resurrect Malcadors.
Don't know why she would need to.
Yeah, yeah. If she can't die, first off, and Malcador shouldn't be able to die.
Yep.
Question mark. What?
And she does this by reading a book that has some sort of magic stowed away in it. And her perpetualness maybe is transferred into him. Now, we don't know what this looks like. Perpetuals in general.
Well, we
We've already
thought we knew about perpetuals. Got fucking wiped away in the siege. It went from yeah. These guys like can't die unless like Narek gets a special magic bullet.
Well, I mean, what we've known about perpetuals has changed dramatically throughout the series. Like,
yeah.
it's been so intense, and like none of it really adds up. We're gonna have to do a whole special episode on perpetuals and like
How to kill them? How easy they are actually to completely obliterate, and they're just really fucking lucky.
magic bullets. Like you're good. Yeah, so it's very strange the how perpetuals work, but essentially she gives him her perpetualness. Maybe we don't know that.
Yeah, is it just like a one life thing? Because from what I know of Malcador, he doesn't last through the siege.
I don't believe he does.
So what's even the point?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
then
think
I guess the kill off Olivia.
that's important.
Is it?
No, but obviously it is to Graham, okay?
I guess so, because it's not like she like did anything like for the story. Like, yeah, she like watched Malek, but she has that vision with the Emperor. She's like, "Hey, man, like I did what I was told to do," and he's like, "Yeah, you kind of fucking failed."
Yeah.
But
I
anyone
mean,
would have failed, but you fucking failed.
we get this scenario with John where like he dies and then just comes back to life, but it's his last life. What does that mean? What did you do?
Also, John's not a real perpetual, man. He's a fake perpetual.
He is a fake perpetual created by aliens who apparently in the first book we're told can take away his perpetualness. That was told in Legion. So I don't know how any of that works.
Yeah, I'm really confused by perpetuals, and I imagine every Eldar should be a perpetual at this point.
Yeah, basically,
Well, there's
like,
like 6 of them, so I don't think they are.
yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, the Malcador story was very strange.
But there'd be a lot stronger on the tabletop too if they were all perpetuals.
Yeah,
Surprise, bitch, I ain't dead.
I just get up.
Weird.
So then we follow Magnus. You're telling me Magnus picks up the Rosetta Stone?
he doesn't pick it up, but like they walk through the room where the Rosetta Stone is. They talk about how like Armin points out like all these like old artifacts, and Magnus is like, yeah, this is definitely an idea of Malcador's to preserve the history of the civilization.
But you never actually see the Rosetta Stone.
No, you don't see. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think like they pointed out specifically, but like there were other things that like they talked about like in the room that was specific to Terra's history.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Malcador to pull out the Rosetta Stone to resurrect.
What the fuck you say, bitch? Let me find
He's
it.
gonna resurrect Dorn with it and make him a perpetual.
Anyone can be a perpetual these days.
You don't know about the perpetual powers of the Rosetta Stone? So
when they go through that room, that is when they get to the gate that they saw in that short story, because that they go through that room, right? And they that's a little confusing because that gate it's supposed to be the webway that the custodians are fighting in. They don't get that. It's just revelations.
Well, it's a closed gate.
Yeah.
When they get there, the custodians are out, and I guess they shut the doors, but not mentally. So the Emperor's on the chair fighting back the demons, and he's trying to convince Magnus that he should just join him. Yeah. And it's kind of frustrating because Magnus flip-flops like 6 times in a 10-page span. Like he's like, fuck you. He's like, maybe. Doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, I mean, the Emperor I think he makes like sense. He's like, look, like you aren't all fucked up. You still have a chance to redeem yourself. Like he shows him like what he's doing. He's like, I am literally on this throne because you fucked shit up. And Magnus is like, yeah, that's my beat.
He does the whole Steve Urkel. Did I do that?
He really did. He's like, well, why didn't you tell me? If you just would have told me, he's like, yeah, maybe, but what the fuck, dude? Like, look what I have to do now.
I mean, the Emperor is doing exactly what Malcador is doing, but without apologizing. He's like, okay, we've tried soft, cuddly Malcador. Now it's time to own up because you're a piece of shit, Magnus, and here's all the things you did wrong. And that works a lot better. Apparently,
it did.
Apparently, Magnus responds well to authority.
Who would have known that the big ass a big old bitch?
Yeah, I mean, he hid in a tower when Lehman Russ came, so clearly he's very scared of people saying you're a fucking idiot.
Amber, let me show you my authority.
And it works. So Magnus kills the Emperor and then goes and sees the Emperor, but then gets stopped by Vulcan. And then the Emperor and Magnus go on a spiritual flight through the warp together. And then Magnus is like, you know what? Maybe you're pretty cool. Maybe I can do this.
Yeah, they show him on the throne, but he's like not suffering like the vision he saw before.
Yeah, which makes sense. We kind of knew that was a thing based off of Path to Heaven because there's 2 thrones being created.
Yeah,
technically 3 based off of Mechanicum.
No, man, I don't know what the fuck that one was.
Yeah, I don't know what throne that was, but so we have this idea that like Magnus sits on one, the Emperor might sit on the other is like the idea.
Yeah, they just stick around in their webway forms, whatever that means.
Yeah, strange. But the Emperor makes this deal. It's a pretty interesting deal where he's like, hey, you can come back, but your sons are fucked. And I'm not gonna lie, they've been fucked since day one. I don't know why I let you hold on to them so long.
He did say that. He's like, bro, after like the first time I saw, I was like, damn, that shit's fucked up. Like, you should just wipe your hands clean.
It's like you buy your kid a dog, but the dog is incredibly fucked up. And then like 20 years later, the dog's still alive. And you're like, hey, we need to put down that dog. But now you've let your child grow attached to it over 20 years.
But he also offers them a new legion, which has to be the Grey Knights, which also makes me think, like, what would Magnus do when he re-meets, or would if he re-met Arvida?
I didn't think it was the Grey Knights. That's a really good concept.
I mean, that's the only other legion being created right now.
I thought he was talking about Primaris.
I don't think that's a thing until way later.
I don't think it's a thing that people know about yet.
That's fair. No, I assume Grey Knights, since that was what they were building.
Potentially.
And I mean, Arvida has his fucking soul shard, so kind of makes sense.
Yeah, maybe he was like, fuck it. Like, if you say yes, I'll give you your soul shard, but we got to put down that dog. He's
honestly,
like,
I wonder, do you think Magnus would have changed his mind if he knew he would get the legion that held his soul shard?
I don't think he would have changed his mind.
Interesting. I don't know.
Here's the thing. This is
Magnus
the
is
whole
pretty
point.
selfish.
Here's the point at the end of the book, though, that I feel like, in my opinion, actually led to Magnus's redemption in some way. You have this scenario where he's offered, oh, we'll kill everyone in your legion.
So there's like 5 guys left.
Yeah, I mean,
in the Emperor's defense.
To be fair, none of this makes any sense considering the fact that Magnus blew over half of them up like 3 hours. Kind of doesn't seem like a problem for Magnus, but we'll kill your people and you get to be with us and we'll give you a new legion. And Magnus has this moment where he's like, I'm not going to do that. And him and Vulcan start fighting and Magnus is like, would you have done it? And Vulcan's like, no. Good point.
Obviously, Vulcan wouldn't.
I mean,
Vulcan's sons are like normal.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, Vulcan did abandon his legion.
That is very fucking did. No, man, he took 3 guys.
I don't know, Graham. I'm doing the math here. Magnus killed half his legion 3 minutes ago, and Vulcan left his entire legion back at home. I don't know if either of these 2 Primarchs are the symbolism you want for.
Yeah, it's almost like Magnus like looked at Armin, like Armin had like a fucking like puppy dog face. He's like, I can't put that down.
Yeah, he specifically just Armin's like, can I keep that one? No, Magnus, we have to kill that one too. Well,
I don't understand is why like the Emperor was like, look, like your sons are probably going to die from the flesh change, but like they can come too. Like it doesn't. He easily could have had a better deal.
Yeah, like we'll just kill him as.
Don't even fucking tell Magnus. Just like let it happen. Like, oh damn, that sucks.
You could just make the deal. It's like, hey, like when they turn, we're gonna have to kill them. That's part of the contract. I'm sure Magnus would be like,
yeah, I agree.
There. Yeah, I can't.
We did that already.
Yeah, I actually just killed like half of them. I'm pretty sure they were about to turn. That's what I like to think.
They had a weird look in their eye, and I knew it.
So I blew up a giant robot. It just so happened to be next to one of your walls, though. That's what we're gonna write for when we tell Dorn that I'm the ally now. Yeah, this whole thing was very strange, but I like that Magnus was redeemed in the fact that like he's turning away from the Emperor's offer, which was a chump ass offer, and he's going with it.
It was a shitty offer. It literally didn't have to be that bad. Like he could, all the lying the Emperor has done in his life, and he didn't think, leave out the part of like leaving his sons behind.
This is where I draw the line in the sand.
Like they've been going through the flesh change for fucking 1,000 years. Like it's a thing. Just let it happen.
They only have like 4,500 of them left. Also, based on like the rate of the flesh change, that legion's gonna be done in 3 months.
If you think about it, most of them's gonna die using their psychic powers during the siege anyway. Because that's the whole thing that makes the flesh change happen, right? They use their powers. Let them use their powers as fucking fodder. Like, I guarantee I'm not Dorn, but if I was Dorn, I'd be like, look, Send them out.
Oh,
Let 'em-
Magnus is on our side? Great.
yeah.
So
You
we're
all
gonna try
shoot
and
flames out of your fucking hands and do that until you change.
where's Angron? That's where they're going.
That motherfucker keeps coming back, and apparently you guys can kill things that can't be killed. So
Supposedly magic works. Oh man. Yeah, that's it was a bad offer. The Emperor should have just lied. I
yeah,
literally don't
and
know.
give him the Legion, right? Like give him the Grey Knights
Yeah.
post siege, assuming your vision shows that like this is what happens, right? Like Magnus joins, you win. Magnus sits on. Also, once Magnus is on the throne, he's stuck on the throne, right? Like it's probably not
Yeah.
that big of a deal.
I'm not dying on moral values in the day siege when you're lying to the entire Imperium and just conscripting random people to their deaths fighting demons that you created. I think I'll lie one more time.
Yeah, maybe. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, like that's maybe
Like it wouldn't have taken much more to convince Magnus, and they're like, no, this is the time I'm going to tell the truth.
what does it cost, Father? Not a damn thing. Not a fucking thing. It's free. I just love you so much.
you sexy red motherfucker.
Oh my gosh. The Emperor lies to the entire Imperium, won't lie to their sons once and tell them that he loves them. That's too far. That's too
I
far.
would fucking never.
I will let everyone die thinking I'm a god that's protecting them. But to tell my son that I love him, it's morally unjust.
We can't have that.
Yeah. Super strange. Don't know what the deal behind that was. Vulcan and Magnus fight. Now, this fight is kind of frustrating because I was under the impression that Vulcan was going to kick Magnus's ass. Now, that did happen.
Yeah.
But he had help.
Yeah, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
And Magnus just, or Vulcan's supposed to be a strong motherfucker.
Yeah. And Magnus, like, keeps him back with metal. Like,
yeah.
What is that? What is this? And there's this idea that like Magnus is predicting all of Vulcan's moves, which I get. That's a Thousand Suns thing, but I'm like, that's pretty fucking OP.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and Armin's like, whoa, look at him do that.
I mean, Armin's getting the fucked beat out of him by
Space Wolves. Yeah.
Armin almost died. Aemon almost died. And that ultimately
someone else died though.
Zevin died.
That guy, yeah.
He was a salamander. He's actually the one salamander that I remember. He's the one that had all of the weapons and he has the big ass hammer. I also remember the religious one. So like those are the I liked Zevin, but he died. And that's another big downside of this book.
Now there's only 2 salamanders left.
I am shocked that more salamanders didn't die. More space wolves died than salamanders, which is like
that doesn't make sense.
That's not in the rules, Graham. That's not how things work around here. You kill the salamanders first.
Turns out Nocturne also blew up during the story. Lion got lost. Like, well, shit, I better blow up this planet instead, I guess.
Is Nocturne traitors?
Maybe.
Possibly. He leaves. I did do the research. Chemos doesn't get blown up by the lion, but he blows up Nocturne.
I mean, it would make sense for him because he's like, those guys look different. They're definitely fucking Xenos or fucking tainted by chaos. I mean, the lion's an asshole. Anything that could go wrong with him, it's going wrong.
Oh man. So a bunch of space wolves die, Zevin dies, Olivia dies. That's it. And you might be thinking to yourself, I don't care about Zevin. I don't care about these random space wolves. I don't care about Olivia. And you'd be right.
Yeah, honestly, the only reason like we brought up Olivia I think she might have been on our bingo cards. It's literally just because like it was a perpetual that was introduced. And we're like,
she was
where are these perpetuals?
Yeah. So she dies for no reason.
Yeah, she just sacrifices herself and revives Malcador. Also, like during like the talk with the Emperor and Magnus, Magnus is like, I didn't mean to kill Malcador, and he's like, yeah, it's a damn shame.
Kind of sounds bad. He's like clearly lying about that. He's able to
Yeah,
lie about the fact that Malcador is dead, but he can't tell Magnus. Yeah, just fucking come back. No big deal.
yeah, so confusing. What the fuck is Malcador?
Here's the part that makes even less sense at the end of the book to me personally. This nailed the coffin. Personally, I think it's one of the better short stories written. I think it's a lot of fun. It was a bit of a slog in the beginning, a lot of fun. I love seeing Vulcan and Magnus fight. But what kills me is all these like small little things, and then at the end, Vulcan stays in the dungeon. And
Yeah,
he tells the space wolves and salamanders that they
fuck
have
off.
to be, they can't tell anyone about Vulcan being down there because they don't want them to know. What makes no sense about that is Magnus and Ahriman and Aemon escaped. They know that Vulcan is alive.
That's true.
All they
But
have to
the
do is
traders
fucking,
know.
the traders know. Who
Literally,
gives
the
a
only ones
fuck?
that don't know are the loyalists.
Who gives a fuck? Like, why
Other
is
than the
Vulcan?
Primarchs, I guess.
If we ever get like a scene where Vulcan does come back and fucking Portarabo's like, what?
I'm
You
mad.
should know this. This was over the radio.
We have
Oh,
witnesses.
we just fought Vulcan in the basement. Over.
I do like that when Vulcan like appears, Max is like, oh, what the do say is true. Vulcan lives. He's like, yeah, I do.
It's like, yeah, I'm getting real fucking tired of hearing that.
That's why
Can't
I
wait.
left all my sons at home because they're fucking annoying.
Now the fight is kind of interesting. Vulcan does eventually beat the shit out of Magnus after one of the sons sacrifices himself. And Magnus finally accepts chaos in order to be expelled by the Emperor's powers from the palace and survived, which is the second time Vulcan has let a traitor Primarch get away.
Yep.
Hammer up and everything. 2 times in a row.
Twice. Yeah.
Storm would be pissed.
Yeah, it would be. God damn it. Dorn's like, I already killed one of these motherfuckers. Come on, guys.
You could kill
I
two of them.
basically killed a second one, but the other one fucking turned back into a snake and disappeared.
Turned into a snake Vulcan. Just fucking hammered
Speaking
him.
of, he has a new Horse Heresy model.
Yes, it's cool looking.
It is cool. I wish they would have shown one for 40K.
That would be so sick. If we got Fulgrim, I would probably buy the.
We have to get Emperor's Children. Just the last non single god left.
I don't know, man.
Undivided. That's what I wanted to say.
He is pretty sick looking. I do
sick.
love that model.
I mean,
Like,
I'd fuck that snake.
well, that doesn't take much.
Yeah, that's true. It's got a heartbeat. We're good.
That's a good model. Like,
That's
I would
really
play
good
that in
model.
40K. We should just.
Man, you know what I really like about Horse Heresy? The fucking boxes they get are nice. Like
Yeah,
they showed another new
resin.
box.
It's
And it's like,
all
man,
resin.
that looks good. Yeah, that looks fuck resin.
Dude, his cape is
Also,
fucking sick. His cape, it's got like faces, like not heads, skinned faces at the bottom of his cape.
Yeah, I didn't see that. That's awesome.
Let me share my screen. Spoiler alert, I guess. Sec.
Oh shit, yeah, that is pretty fucking cool.
That would be so much fun to paint.
That's a really good looking model.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job. I just wish it would release for 40K too. We could have some
But
pretty.
hey, also look at that. Like his fucking dress has a fucking face on it.
Oh, that's pretty fucking cool. That's a great model.
It's really fucking good looking.
His
I mean,
sword,
there's gonna be a 40K version. There's not gonna be.
maybe. I think there
Uh,
will be.
yeah, it'll definitely be here in 10. But hey, man, you know what 40K got? Some more Space Marines that look exactly like all the other Space Marines.
Dude, I'm thinking about getting a Tyranids army though. Those models are
Tyranids look really
sick.
good.
Yeah, absolutely love those. So,
When I do a Xenos army, Tyranids is what I want to do.
no, I call them.
I literally said this like a year ago.
I'm calling it now.
We can both have bugs. I don't give a fuck. What are you
Whoever,
gonna do?
well, you could just put them together. You could just have a lot of fucking bugs. That's okay. Just have like a 6,000 point armies of Tyranids coming together. Do some awesome apocalypse battles. That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. Gavin, what's your rankings on Fury of Magnus?
It was actually a really hard one to rank. I'm gonna give it a 6.
You
I was
put it
expecting more.
above Solar War.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
It's above Solar War. It's not as good as Sons of Selenor, which I was not
Yeah,
expecting.
I really like Sons of Selenar.
Yeah. It's about on par with the first wall, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah. This is I don't know. I might have liked this more than first of all.
Maybe. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, you get two Primarchs actually fighting instead of just staring each other down. You get
I really like the conversation of Magnus and Malcador a lot.
a great scene.
And Magnus and the Emperor.
Also a good scene. Yep.
Yeah. I'd probably put about the same.
Okay. Mortis is next.
Mortis is next. That will be our preview. I imagine Mortis is going to be a two-parter. We're both only about to start chapter 2.
Yeah.
It's a big book, so
It is a very big book.
I don't see a way we do it in 2 episodes because I'm not going to have it read. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So Mortis is probably one we'll stretch out. I can imagine Warhawk will be faster. It's shorter. Definitely something that we've been looking forward to. We've heard amazing things about it. We'll see how we'll go there. And Garo is the smallest of all the short stories. I think we can do it in a week. It's like 100 pages.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, that is going to be the game plan then. Anything else we want to go over before we end it?
No, I think we're good.
All right, cool. Well, guys, that is our review of Fury of Magnus. Next week, we will start our preview of Mortis. Expect a 3-parter for that. It's long as fuck, and it's about Titan battles, so we will drag that shit out as long as we can. As always, hit us up on the Discord. We got movie nights. We got hobby time. Check it out. Find it on our Twitter at Heresy Lodge. Email us at theheresiLodge@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube at the Heresy Lodge. If you play Tacticus, check out discord.gg/pants of horse. We have merch. Check it out. It'll be in the show notes as always. And happy Labor Day for our Americans.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend, 3-day weekend, 4-day weekend for some people that are super lucky. Have a good one, guys.